Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Welcome yet again to another episode of Behind the Minbar, and this time our first episode in Shahr Muharram al-Haram. We're joined by Mulla Ali Fadhil, who has been he smashed it. He smashed it at al-Rasool over the past 11 nights. You've just been killing it, bro. Assalamu alaikum, Mulla. How are you?
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah, doing well.
So how have you been finding it here?
I haven't. I came in with little to no expectations, knowing that I had to obviously fulfill a responsibility, a duty. I did a lot of research on Masjid al-Rasool.
Yeah.
I spoke to a few people as well and their experiences with it, and they all told me, "Look, great guys. They got a fantastic setup, media setup, AV. The crowd is fantastic as well." So a lot of people said, "You know what? We can't really describe it. You just need to go and experience it for yourself." And of the many communities that I've been to, it genuinely is. Coming here is like you need to come here to experience it. It's quite a unique flavor.
There's no mujamalat there.
No. I thought, listen, I'm here wearing a hoodie and a cap and jeans and trainers. I'm not gonna jamil. What's jamil in English again? Formalities.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give formalities. I'm just gonna give you raw.
And if anyone wants to look at his hoodie, you know.
Yeah, one of the things that I love about these guys is that they love giving away free hoodies and free merchandise. So if you're ever in the area, come and pick up your free merchandise.
Yeah, it's definitely free for everyone. Yes, we don't charge money when you get here. There are no prices.
No, this is fantastic. Genuinely, I like the. You guys have a really good yeleg.
The vest, but that's VIP though. The amount of people that have. So I wore that in 2 episodes ago of BTM, and the amount of friends of mine and people that swiped them, they're like, "Salam, where can we get this vest?"
It's fantastic.
That's just,
and I feel really honored that I've got one as well.
Yeah, it's exclusive for the team members, and of course for.
And that's also a shout to all the other communities as well. If you want to give me free merchandise, I'm more than happy to advertise as much as you can.
But I think we got them on lock, so you're gonna have a hard time getting him to wear your stuff.
Hey, look, I mean, you can tell from my my voice. This is not my normal voice. This is kind of an exhausted voice that's been used over the last 11 days.
Used and abused.
Used, inshallah, in a good way. And it has been a bit of a transition from the first night to the 10th and 11th and even the 12th night as well. Yeah. There's been a massive change. A lot of things have happened, which I'm sure that we're going to get into.
We'll dive into it.
But yeah, it's been a very, very good experience.
Speaking about your voice, it started at night 1, silky smooth. Just, he was almost just playing with the levels of his voice, going up and down, do, re, mi, fa, sol. He's just doing lots of that. And then now it's a bit more raw.
Yeah.
A bit more of a baha.
We call it baha. Yeah.
It's nice though. You've held it down.
Alhamdulillah, I tried.
And especially in the last 4 days, the amount you've been reciting, Sunday, Nainawa conference, then we were somewhere else Sunday night. And you recited, again.
And the thing is, I noticed from the first night that the style of Latmiyya that this crowd demands is a very high octane, passionate, fast kind of energy. And so I have to kind of give that. I think one of the things that I learned is that, especially when it comes to 10 nights, you need to pace yourself. Like I personally, in my own recitation experiences, alhamdulillah, the last couple of years, I think since COVID, I haven't done like a full-on Latmiyya Majalis for Iraqis and the Iraqi style, and doing like an hour and a half where you do an introduction Latmiyya, and then there's the main qasida, and then there's the Nazla, which is the fast-paced one. Yeah. I haven't actually done that. So last year and a couple of years before that, I've always been at Harak al-Husayniyya in London, and that's just 15-20 minutes of like a professional latom, listen to the words, listen to the melody.
Usually slower,
rather than giving a lot from your voice.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a bit of a shock to me, because I didn't tell you this beforehand, but I knew that I've got like a canister of voice. If I use that from the first 2-3 nights, then it's going to be used up, and then it's hard for me to catch up. It needs a couple of days for me to get my normal voice back. But I think, inshallah, if there's another opportunity to serve in this blessed community for 10 nights, I'm going to pace myself, regardless of what the crowd wants. I'm going to need to pace myself, because there's more of a demand on the latter nights than there is on the earlier nights. But I gave like 110% in the first couple of nights, and everything went. The whole voice went.
Yeah, we'll make notes,
Please,
just in case.
Yeah.
One of the most, I think, one of the interesting and funny things was constantly while you're reciting,
Yeah.
Mullah couldn't hear himself a lot of the time, and it's something that a reciter needs to be able to
A
do.
reciter wants to be surrounded by his voice and his voice only. Because if I need to shout, it's because I can't hear myself in the speakers that are, say, even if they're 5 or 6 meters away from me, right? If I can't hear myself, I'm going to increase my volume levels just so that I can get my voice back from the speakers. The more I do that, the more my voice gets tired. So I think part of the first couple of nights is the fact that I did give like a lot of high octane, passionate recitations, but also it was a bit of a learning curve for the media team to understand what reciters like, and also for me to, so we were on the same page. I think it needed about 3 or 4 nights for us to get to a level where, okay, I just need volume. I just need as much volume. Or I want to be within my own bubble. The sound that comes to the audience, great. You can sort that out yourselves, right? You've got the AV team. They can sort out what sound goes to them. But what sound comes to me, it has to be different. It has to be different as a reciter.
That's when we say, Hussein, crank it.
And that's why, so for example, you'll see I'll probably either do this, or I even look at you and say, just put the volume up. But look, yeah, hats off to you guys as well. You're very accommodating, because I needed, maybe stronger monitors. They call them monitors that are speakers in front of me. I needed stronger monitors so that I do get more of a surround sound around me.
Okay. And we got those monitors.
You did. Yeah, you did.
Just making sure.
Alhamdulillah, you did.
Had to mention it, How long have you been reciting? I don't think that's something that most people know. How did you get into it? How long? What's his brief background?
I have been reciting, I mean, it's a very blurred memory, but I would probably say about 20 years now. 36, 16.
And it started with Arabic or English?
No, it started all Arabic.
Oh.
It started all Arabic. My father is a sheikh, he's a lecturer, so he recites, not Latmiyya, he gives lectures in London, outside London. Actually, coincidentally, he's in Canada, in Muharram, in Ottawa.
Just down the road.
My mum is a reciter, so she recites for women-only Majalis. She's actually in another country, not in London, doing 10 nights or 13 nights of Majalis. So my whole family has grown up in this kind of Majalis,
this atmosphere,
reciting atmosphere. So it's been kind of drummed into me from a young age. And I used to always, from till now, I listen to Basim Karbala'i, and I listen to him religiously, like all of his old school classics. I used to memorize them. So my dad told me, listen, Baba, matul andak, since you have an interest in this, why don't you come with me to the Majalis in London, and you can kind of like نتدرب براسهم in a way, so you can practice with them. It's a very low-key majlis, just a house majlis, right? So once, twice, 3, 4 times, and I built a love for it, a passion for it. But what coincided with that was the boom of English majalis in lectures, English lectures, English majalis in London 20 years ago, right? And it started with Al-Bayt Foundation with Sayyid Mehdi Mudarrisi. And I remember 20 years ago, my mom was like, Mama, you have to go to this. I was like, Mom, what is this English? I want to go to Rasul Adam. I want to go to my local mosque. She goes, no, you have to go to this English majlis. I was like, fine, I'll go. The first night I got there, I did not leave because I really enjoyed the English lectures, the na'i and everything. And Dr. Sheikh Osam al-Attar was reciting Latmiyyat at that time, 20 years ago. And then he transitioned into lecturing. Yeah, I still remember till this day, he read... قلبي عاشق كربلاء قلبي عاشق كربلاء. Have you heard that one?
Is it the same?
شلون فارق كربلاء كربلاء.
Basim has another really big one with the
نجف.
دول فقارك يا علي.
دول فقارك يا علي.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, but the people that organized English Majalis, they saw that I should be honest. There was a choir that I started with called Light of Guidance. It was me and like 6 other guys. Hello. And hats off to brother Sajjad al-Ha'iri. Till this day, I remember he was very, very influential in my reciting life because he put me as part of the choir. He was always working with the shabab, always working with the youth. And this is, again, and a word to I always say this wherever I go, in any workshop that I have, in any podcast that I do, choirs are where you will find the gems within reciters. Because starting off as a choir, your voice and your recitation gets lost within the 6, 7 other people. If you make a mistake, it's not going to be visible because you've made a mistake, but there's 5 other people that can cover for you, right? You have the lead reciter, but he's an established reciter anyway. But the 5 or 6 young kids that are behind him that are actually doing the choir, you can practice a lot of things: stage presence, reciting in front of people. You can work on your tone, work on your melody, getting melodies right. And then if you do the right things, what Sajjad did, he gave me solo
roles in the choir.
In the choir. So he would do a certain part of the recitation. The crowd, as in the choir, will do a certain part of the recitation, but I would also have a solo part. One person in the crowd, who was another influential member of my personal development, is another Sajjad Jihad. And I don't know if you've heard of the Latmiyya, when Fatima came to Karbala. When Fatima came, just say yes, because a lot of people know
yes,
it.
Sure, yeah.
A lot of the audience will know. When Fatima came to Karbala. Anyway, when Fatima came to Karbala. Anyway, a lot of the older audience would know it because that was released maybe 13 years ago. Yeah. Oh, you were quite young. That's why you didn't. Yeah.
I've always been in the Arabi Latmiyya scene.
All right, fine.
The only thing English one I know is from, I think, like back in the day, Ali Najjar had like some really old.
He did
Zainab. He did Akhaf and Aufak, and Zainab went through torment.
Oh, okay.
You remember that one?
Yeah. No, the English scene is picking up. Alhamdulillah. Yeah. I'd recommend you get into the English scene. It's nice. Yeah, it's not too bad.
Basim
is number one. Okay,
Basim is Basim.
Fine. So Sajjad Jihad looked at me and he said to me, pulled me to one side. He goes to me, Ali, you have a talent. You need to go solo. I will write for you in English. And I really, because we were doing English recitations as part of the choir. He goes, I will write for you. There is a need for English. You need to do English. And so I had the tough kind of decision at a young age to tell Sajjad al-Ha'ari, who was the Light of Guidance choir leader, listen, I want to go solo. He goes, look, do your thing, right? So the two things, the choir and then the rise of English Majalis. Sajjad al-Ha'ari, Amir Taqi, might know Amir Taqi, right? Amir Taqi, Mustafa Field, Sayyid Ammar, Naqshwani, they were part of this English Majalis boom that happened in London, right? And from there, you got the likes of Sayyid Ammar, Sheikh Muhammad al-Hilli, Sheikh Mustafa Mas'ud, for example. Loads of shuyukh came from that boom because they had regular English Majalis. So I then did, but the thing, it was weird. I didn't know why. I had no fear doing English. I had no fear, no embarrassment, no khajal, nothing. Like I would just boom out English recitations with a live audience. And I didn't really know whether they liked it because, again, social media wasn't around at that time. It was right in the beginning of Facebook. Right in the beginning of Facebook.
You guys were just really trend-setting at that moment.
At that time, they were trends. I was just happy for the opportunity. So the more I did recitations, the more that there was English majalis, and it's just it was a very, very natural thing. English majalis, they want English latmiyat, and so therefore they came to me and they asked me to come recite. So, and that kind of just spiraled into London, then moved into into England, then moved into like different parts of the UK, and then I went to Europe, and then alhamdulillah it just spiraled into North America and Africa and Australia and all that.
Yeah. So very interesting, and thank you for sharing this story with us. But an integral part of the story that you've been explaining is the rise of English majalis.
Yeah.
As you know, this year we've done an all English majlis.
Yeah.
Like in terms of the lecture has been in all English.
Yeah.
And that's something for the first time ever to have.
How many years have you had just English majalis? This is the first year.
This is the first year.
With Sayyid Hadi?
Yep.
Muharram.
First year, Muharram, we switched to solely English. We've had English and Arabi, like 80% Arabi, 20% English, then 70-30, then 60-40.
Oh, wow. I thought you've had English majalis
then 50,
for like 3-4 years now.
Nope, this is it. We did it. You came in at a time when there was...
Hold on, Mulla Ali came last year, he read English, didn't he?
he read English doesn't make the Majlis in English.
Ha 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 ha.
I mean solely English, like
Solely English.
in terms of the lecture.
Okay.
So last year's lecture, Sayyid Hussein, he did an Arabic and English, and it was great, to be honest. He said it was incredibly difficult. He would go line by line, switch and translate all of that.
Interesting.
And Rashid also did some English and some Arabic.
Yeah.
There are some organizations like Al-Akbar in the UK, for example, and others that they do this kind of thing where the lecture is English, but then the cultural stuff like the Na'ir and the Latmiyya, or especially the Latmiyya, that stays in Arabic.
Fully Arabic. Yeah.
So we're kind of, we get some inspiration from that and from other groups where the Majalis, the lectures are in English, but we try to stick to the Iraqi heritage, Iraqi culture in terms of the cultural aspects. We still do Na'i. Of course, you did the Musiba in English, and then but you would still have the Arabic Ubudiyya.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's totally new in this community.
Totally new. We're shoving it down their throats.
What was the feedback like?
We're shoving it down their throats. Do
you know what I noticed actually? I noticed about this center, and what's quite unique about it is that most of the Iraqi centers, anywhere in the world, they will have the main elder what's the lajna? Committee, right? They're still very active. They'll have their regular Arabic programs. Their English programs will be something on the side. So let's just say
afterthought.
Yeah. So let's just say their main programs are on a Friday. They'll have the English program, say, on a Thursday or on a Saturday or on a random Wednesday afternoon or something like that. And it's not the main Majlis that everyone will go to, right? Arabic is the main thing. But here, you guys have totally flipped it around. And for me, by the way, it is an unfathomable idea. Because if I compare this to London, for me to think Rasul Azam in London, for them to give total responsibility for the youth, for them to say we're going to do everything in English, I can already see the uproar and the chaos that it will cause. Because I know the elder lot. Maybe there's a bit more in the Iraqi London, Rasul Azam in London. Maybe there's a bit more of us. But I can already see if they ever try to give that kind of decision from now, then it will be uproar. It will be an absolute chaos. But here, what you guys have done is that you've totally taken over the main Majlis.
Yeah.
What gave you that push? Who gave you that push? How did you guys get that authority?
So the authority stems from, of course, like the management of those that may know Haji Abu Sadiq.
Yeah.
He had sat us down after, and it was like 2 years ago. And it was also with Sayyid Mulla Ali Fadhil.
Yeah.
And we were sitting down, and this is
He's
after
a London guy.
He's a London guy. So those that are watching from London, they know him. We've had him on lock. He's come here 14 times, 14 years.
MashaAllah.
From 2007, he's been coming, and then there's a few years that he took a gap, but so 14 years he's come here for Ramadan, and I think 1 or 2 Muharrams as well. So he's very much in tune and in line, and he knows this community almost as the imam, but from far away,
Okay.
As a leader of the community, but from far away.
So he sat you down?
So he sat us down and he speaks, and this is just after completing a month of Arabic programming. And I just sat down, and then a lot of the Shabab were having similar ideas at the time, the Shabab that are currently part of the team. And I just sat down with my uncle and the Sayyid, and I told them, yeah, but we need to just have more of a focus on English.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just like one thing I said. I said, we need to have more of a focus on English, because back in the day, we were just like all those other centers you mentioned, where we were in this hall that's behind us. We had sometimes
it's just something on the side.
And we had our own English speakers come sometimes and everything. Like, as far as that goes, it was well, but it was going well, but it's not sustainable. Like, at the end of the day, like, if you keep treating the youth like an afterthought, they're just gonna go. You need to actually cater the whole center to them. They are your future.
Yeah.
Treating them like an afterthought, leaving them on the sidelines, not getting them involved, that's not going to get you anywhere as a community.
That's not.
And we saw that, especially when COVID came around, a community that was thriving just poof, disappeared. And these problems were building up after years. So it's not just COVID COVID was the nail in the coffin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we came and we were like the defibrillator that came and revived the community. Alhamdulillah, we got together an amazing team of Shabab.
Yeah. I've seen them,
Yeah, you know them, Athir, Hussein, Muhammad, 2 Mustafas, Sadiq, Ali. Like
You can name it.
a bunch of them, but
Yeah.
they know who they are. They're doing amazing stuff, amazing work, and alhamdulillah, we were able to do something. We made progress. We made achievements.
You're quite visible online as well.
Alhamdulillah.
Talk us through that.
Alhamdulillah. The online presence, it started with.
I think I'm leading this podcast now.
I feel like I'm getting interviewed. But
Talk
I
us
didn't
through
take. No. To be fair, Mulla Ali is also a TV host, and
yeah.
he has much more hosting experience than I do. So,
Alhamdulillah.
so let's just. He's on Aish TV, Shia Voice, standing there.
Alhamdulillah.
You smashed it. That's
I don't
Rashid.
say- Yeah, that's Rashid.
But
That's
you're,
not me.
when
I
you're
don't have
picking people
a
up-
catchphrase or anything like that. I just try to be very universal. If I
no,
stick
but
to one,
you'll just have a guy reciting and they'll pull that camera on you when you're on the side.
I'll be reacting. Yeah. I'll be reacting.
Yeah, it's
So
nice.
tell us how you get into a more
So
of an
online,
presence.
well, that's just part of our. We changed the tawajjuh, the heading
Direction.
of our mosque, the direction of our center
Mm.
to cater towards shabab. And how do you cater towards shabab? Like, how do you get people talking about you? You get shabab to think, I want to go here.
Yeah.
Social media. There's no other way. And I feel like it's been a few episodes now where we talk about social media, but
Yeah.
I mean, this is getting uploaded on social
What I'm
media.
trying to refer to is your very unique look on Reels. I think that's one of the
So-
unique features of
So
al-Rasool.
we have. So there's a brother named Muhammad, and he has he had already had experience.
Oh, does he have experience?
He already had experience on his own personal like TikTok page. You know, like,
Okay.
he was good at making reels on his phone, doing stuff like that.
Okay. He's a genius, by the way. If you haven't come across any of his Reels,
Yeah,
I beg
and
you
then
put
the
it in
standard
somewhere.
Majlis format, even all across the GTA and everywhere, really was just pictures. There was no emphasis on video.
Mm.
You'd have the live stream, someone's phone, they'd open it, and they just stream the lecture from like a little tripod.
Yeah.
Stream the guy on YouTube in 720p, and there was no emphasis on video. But you'd have people take nice pictures. I mean, like as you know, like Masoud Naib and people like that. There's
He's famous here.
of
Shout
course.
out to Masoud Navid. This guy's the most hardworking, silent, hard worker that we've ever seen in London. He's brilliant. He's
His
brilliant.
photos are amazing.
His photos are amazing.
I
and
love,
also
I love his pictures.
by the way, you know, most of his videos that he does, they're all on the phone, right? And I don't know how he's got some brilliant quality camera on his phone. He gets really good captures.
So phone videos are also very good. Like if you know what you're doing, that's how we started, even on the
Yeah.
phone as well.
Yeah.
We started on the phone. The first Muharram we did was purely on the phone.
Yeah.
And even in Ramadan, the first 2 weeks we're on the phone, and then we made an investment. We bought a camera, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's because reels, they show the ambience, how it feels. A picture can sometimes feel distant.
Yeah.
You don't understand, okay, what was going on in this scene.
Mm.
A reel shows you the emotion of the moment, the vibes, the sound, the audio.
Yes.
Lots of stuff can be
It's
shown,
much more
expressed.
dynamic.
It's dynamic.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
more expressive.
It is.
You can feel like you were there. And reels, we started on the phone with a little gimbal, and I say we, but it was Muhammad. He was
Yeah.
recording, whatever. It was great. And then last Ramadan, not this past one, 2023, we bought a camera and a gimbal, and also we started to just record, make reels, and then some of them took off. Like
They did.
And of course, he also got better in his craft.
course.
For him, he's also purely self-taught. Like there was no course, and he doesn't have like business experience. He just knew how to make a few
It's just
reels
that-
on his phones.
Look, I really think when you have a passion for something, you will go to any length to try and improve your skills in that world.
Yeah.
So there was a driving force behind that. Now talk me through. You guys had this change. How many years has it been since you've had the authority to have your own majalis?
Just over 2 years.
So what's been the pushback like?
The pushback has been sometimes pretty weak. Sometimes it's been pretty supportive, and then there's
Look,
other times where it's
I've
pretty.
been here for 11 days, 12 days. Yeah, my first 10 minutes, and I kid you not, Wallah al-Azim, my first 10 minutes of stepping foot, not even inside the masjid, outside of the masjid, I was saying salam to some of the brothers, the elder community, who I didn't know that these guys were the elder community. They just looked like they were, because you have a nice little mokib set up. There's a fire going on. There's coffee. There's tea. So I was like,
May Allah
right,
bless
coffee.
the brothers outside that are serving.
Fantastic stuff.
It's amazing.
Great stuff. Anyway, one of them was sitting down, and he literally within the first 10 minutes started to explain why he was annoyed that there is English. So I'm looking. By the way, I'm looking at him. I don't know. He knows that I've come from abroad. He's looking at me and he's telling me, yeah, my son recites, but he doesn't get many opportunities here. They favor speakers and reciters from outside. I'm like, okay, so that would be me. All right, number one. They favor speakers and reciters from outside. And number two, he goes, 355 days in the year, they can do anything they want in English. But in Muharram, I want to cry for Imam al-Hussein, so they have to do it in Arabic. And I'm done with this. I won't use the word that he used because I'm done with this English so-and-so. So I'm looking at
English mumbo jumbo.
Mumbo jumbo.
Yes.
Yeah, mumbo jumbo. He goes, I'm done with this English mumbo jumbo. And that's when I realized, okay, so there's a lot of pushback. So that's my own experience.
No, of course.
You and I'm an outsider, but you face fronting, what was it like for you?
So from the elders, of course, there's been a lot of pushback. We've had to face it, and all of the brothers have gotten some kind of pushback one way or another. They've gotten hachi, they've gotten comments, sly comments here or there, or full-on debates or arguments or conversations that go on for 2 hours.
Yeah,
that has been the kind of the backdrop behind this Muharram. The thing is, now it's just more pronounced because this year's the first year there were the lectures fully in English, and we did an English maqtal, which was a bit of a shock for some people. But the thing is, the same people were also complaining last year. But then, last year, they'd complain about something else.
right.
And then the year before, they were complaining about something else.
Iraqis are going to complain.
And then 6 or 7 years ago, when we were in fully Arabic programs, they were complaining about something else or just not attending. Neither them nor their children were in attendance. So I realized that it's impossible to make everyone happy.
Yeah.
And that sometimes you just gotta weather through the storm. You just gotta keep going.
Yeah.
Because these people are going to complain, especially the elders. They don't like change. But my key and our key driving factor here is that younger people, shabab, they don't have much options, honestly. Like our neighbors, the Afghan Center, may Allah bless them, they have the same issues that we have. Their English program is it's additional to the Farsi program. And that's a situation for many centers. As you know, we have 2 centers next to us here, Madinatul Ilm, the Pakistani center, Imam Ali Islamic Center. They just have purely Urdu and Farsi programs respectively.
Yeah.
They don't have any English, so a lot of their youth would come here. So for us, I think it's actually a massive achievement, something like you said is incredibly unique that we were able to take control.
I think you're missing one key point, because I've heard the conversations, I've heard both sides, and I think one key point is that you do rely very heavily on 4 or 5 of the elders who share your vision, because if you didn't, then you wouldn't have a backing. You wouldn't have a strong backing. You need the elder person for them to be the buffer between the other elders who have the issues, so that they don't come to you guys.
Frankly, the one key elder that had, I've mentioned his name already, Abu Sadiq, who has been essentially the director of the center.
Okay. Yeah.
He made the decision, but he left everything in our hands.
Okay.
So when people would approach him, he'd say, "You go talk to them. They're in charge now." So as in Iraq we say, "Sahab nafsa," he removed himself from the playing field.
Yeah.
So that's, and of course he's not fully escaped because people have his number, they call him, they complain. But he's been out of town for most of Muharram. So it has been a lot of direct, I wouldn't say conflict, but some...
No. It's reached, look, there was a time as well where it's actually reached close to blows. It's, look, unfortunate is the case, but look,
you're right.
What I think my take on this is that there has to be, and there's going to be, a realization, right, in a year, 2, 3, that this is reality. You just need to give up.
We live in this country. Your children are born in this country.
And what gets me is that we don't want to get to, in another 10 years, right, where those same elders are saying, what's happened to my son? Why is he lost? What's happened to my daughter? Why is she lost? What's happening to our youth? Why are they not here?
That's pretty much what happened.
It's happening now, right?
That's what led this change. It happened. That's what happened in the late 2010s, around COVID, just after COVID.
Yeah.
When the center was dead, no youth, even the adults stopped coming. It was a weird situation to be in. And everyone is just confused why my son would commit such a thing or why my daughter would do such a thing. And then, well, of course, if you have let them be free reign There's been no programming that's attracting them. You come here, you let them go and run out to Tim Hortons or in the street, or go down the street there and do other, ridiculous things. Of course, this is going to be the impact, and of course, we as a center, we only have so much influence. Of course, the parents, what happens at home, that has its own effect, and it's the primary influence in a child's upbringing. But here, at least, when we've made this change, we've actually received positive feedback.
Good.
One brother said one of the lectures one night is the best lecture I've ever heard at al-Rasool.
Yeah.
Another brother who's Iraqi, it's not just about attracting people that aren't, that aren't Arab, attracting more Pakistanis and Iranians and Afghans, which we have, because at the end of the day, we're all Shia Amir al-Mu'mineen, and we're all getting together for the same thing, to commemorate and mourn the tragedies that befell Imam al-Hussein, and to reaffirm our allegiance to him and his father.
Yeah.
And one other brother came and said, one of the Musibah nights, the night 10 Musibah, the Na'i, is the second time I've ever cried in this center. Second time in my life I've ever cried here. And this is someone who was born and coming here like the week he was born. Like, he was coming here since he was a child, an infant. So just that alone, and from what we've heard from a lot of people saying, thank you so much for doing a maqtal in English. This is the first time I ever hear what happened to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein.
Wow.
The first time I ever hear exactly in detail what happened to him. What happened to his family. I feel like a lot of these communities, and in London as well, a lot of the communities are so, they're tied, holding on to this idea of it has to be the way it always has been. The way it's been culturally, the way we're used to, we cry more when it's in Arabic. And I agree. I would probably cry more if the whole maqtal was in Arabic. I probably would. That's my personal preference. But I don't let that guide what I see as being the logical way to run things.
Absolutely.
For a broader Canadian Shia community.
So what's the plan then for the next, say, 5 years for this center?
That's a tough question. You're putting me on the spot. I don't really have anything prepared to say. But one of the goals,
continuity, consistency.
One of the goals is consistency and staying strong in English programming. Because that's where we have seen success, we've seen results, and we've seen an impact on people's lives. And that's what we're trying to do.
That is the point here,
We're trying to get a risala across, the message of Ahlul Bayt. We're trying to get that across to people. It doesn't matter if we keep doing it in Arabic and it's 20 people that have listened to this risala for 25, 30 years. Are these people going to be the soldiers of Imam? Inshallah they are. But it's the youth. We know that the youth of the future are going to be the ones that stand with the Imam.
Look, essentially, they're going to be holding the banner when you guys, the elder lot, la samhallah, pass away. I mean, it's going to happen.
You have to pass it on eventually. If there's no youth and it's just old men and it's the same thing every year, the same reciter, the lectures are the same, the na'i is the same, the maqtal is the same, everything's the same. You want the same food. Where's the progress?
I asked one of the sayyids that was traveling to another community, and he again always travels to the same community over and over again. And I said to him, "What's your topics for this year?" And he said to me, "I'm going to focus a lot on akhlaq, because I feel like akhlaq is, we're missing when it comes to akhlaq." And in my mind, I'm thinking, like, have you not been talking about?
Did you not talk about that 3 years ago?
Have you not been talking about akhlaq time and time again? Like, how many more times do you need to talk about akhlaq to these guys? Are their akhlaq, are their manners really that bad for you to keep going on and on and on again about akhlaq?
Or raising children. Of course, raising children is important, but like, is that what you're going to talk about every year?
It's the same.
For a year,
and it's wasting our time, because time is precious right now. And there's loads of kids that can be inspired within a day. They can be inspired within a week. They can be inspired with one majlis, right? One majlis can change their lives. And if we're not doing that now, then who knows when it's going to happen later on? We don't know what's going to happen later on.
Part of your question when you're asking what's the 5-year plan is I do like the idea of having consistent weekly programming. And I see that's something that you do at Haraka al-Husainiyya. If you can tell us just about what your kind of plan is there. I
think what we saw was that there were already established organizations that were doing seasonal program. So you have the likes of Akbar Foundation, Shabab al-Sabtain, yeah, it's probably those two. Maybe Rasool Adam Youth.
Those are the big
But
players. in London.
they were the ones that were attracting loads of the numbers. They had very, very good, big Muharram, Ramadan, Fatimiyya every now and then, some Mawalids here and there. But there was a massive gap in weekly, high quality programs when we first started off for kids. Not for kids, for youth.
For youth.
Boys, youth. Yani.
What for boys specifically?
Not boys, but like male youths,
Okay.
right? So we're talking anywhere between the age of like, say, 10 to 25, right?
No.
The ages that came to us ranged from like 7, 8, all the way to like 40. That came to us on a consistent basis before COVID. We're talking 3 months before COVID, yeah? So the reason why Haraka started in the first place is because, I don't want to reveal too much, but we were hearing some horrible stories of what's happening in our Iraqi centers that were led by the Iraqi elders, right?
Yeah.
That's not to say that Haraka or Akbar or Shah Sultan are pristine and nothing happens in their places, but we're talking about the elder community and the Iraqi elder community and some horrible stories of what the youth are doing and the activities that they were doing. And I actually I feared, because I've got a child. I've got a son who's 7 years old. And I'm like, do I really want, and we were saying this, myself, Haj Haidar Qazzaz, Sayyid Hassan Nawab, Sheikh Mustafa Masoud, we were saying, do we really want to send our kids to these Iraqi centers knowing that there is nothing for them in English? There's nothing for them whatsoever. If there is, it's just an afterthought, as you were saying.
Exactly.
So we thought, let's just establish a new center, a new organization called Haraka Husseiniya. Our mantra, our ethos, our core principle was Dua Kumail on a Thursday. Dua Kumail on a Thursday, we start with Dua Kumail, and then we have a lecture, and then we'll have an activity. So what we wanted to do was to bring in the youth. Yes, we have a lecture, but then we have a fun activity. So we started with Kahoot activities. We had, at one stage in the heyday of Haraka before COVID, bro, we had a Call of Duty tournament. A Call of Duty tournament, right? We had a lot. The good thing about that was our establishment coincided with the establishment of Diwan al-Kafil. Who, again, hats off to them. They said to us, this is your place, do whatever you want. And they made it state of the art. So we're talking 2 massive screens either side
those
of them.
LED walls.
LED walls. They had the lighting, they had the AV system, they had a stage. So it was ripe for us to say, you know what, let's really use this place. And we utilized it. We rinsed the place. Every single week was Diwan al-Kafil, right?
Yeah.
So in our heyday, in those screens, we had one phone that was linked to the screen, and we had players joining this phone, right? So we had 5 players against 5 players, and they're all part of one team fighting against each other in Call of Duty. That was our heyday. We had 300 youths coming every single week.
Insane.
Wallah, I kid you not. That coupled with fries and wings. We used to bring fries and wings every week.
The key to a man's heart.
Absolutely key. It was key. Everyone enjoyed the fries and the wings and the pizza and all that stuff, right? But then COVID hit. We went online. Alhamdulillah, we had a good presence online. When we came back from COVID, our wives were like, hold on, until you're going every single week, we have to look after the kids. What is there for us? So then we opened the doors to families, and that's when it went up a notch. Because now families felt comfortable, because Diwan al-Kafil, Haraka al-Husseiniya, they don't have any religious attributes. What's the religious not attribute? They're not attributed to any religious scholar or authority or anything like that, right? It's not like, for example, the Shirazi place or the Sistani place or the Khoti place or anything like that.
They're not
right?
directly associated with any
association. That's the word, yeah. So they weren't associated with any maraj or anything like that, right? Most of the families that used to go, so this is me thinking of a typical family man, right? I've got a wife and 3 kids. If I'm going to go to Rasul Adam, for example, as I bring Rasul Adam, I could go to Khoi, Dar Islam, wherever it is, right? I go to any of these Iraqi centers. Now, I have to take maybe 2 of my kids, keep them next to me. My wife takes the other kid, right? She has to go to the women's hall, which is totally separate. She can't see anything. There's a small TV. Everyone's talking. All the kids are running around in the women's hall, right? And then you got the men's hall, which is everyone's listening to the lecture. It's in Arabic, but my kid wants to play on the iPad, or wants to play on his phone. He's bored. He doesn't know what the language is. So then I've got a call. Oh, Hussein, can you please come out, please? Because Hussein's bored. You come and take him. So we have to come out. Oh, Hussein, it becomes so complicated. It just becomes a horrible day out
Yeah.
Right? It's not a day out for the family. The family just not looking forward to going to the masjid because it's so complicated. Everything's just complicated about it.
Yeah.
La, the language is our language. La, anyone's going to benefit anything. The women aren't, they're just going to sit there and chit chat. The kids are just running around doing anything and doing all sorts of activities. So we thought, let's open it up to families. And the families that come, this is what made it quite unique, because the families that came, there is no religious affiliation. There's no political affiliation. They come, their kids are taken care of because there's a kids club. The elders, they can sit down and respectfully listen to a lecture or a mawlud or a workshop, right? And we always have a Kahoot afterwards. So the women who sit at the back, men at the front, we have a Kahoot quiz if it's in the Mawalid, right? Only in the Mawalid seasons. We have a Kahoot, so it's always like, it's a very, very family feel. So Ani, as a husband and my wife and kids, if I go to this place, I feel comfortable because I know everyone is taken care of. It's a nice day out. It's a nice day out for the family. And that was what was key. The two things that was consistent, the two things that were key is that consistency. We didn't fail a week. The first week we started, alhamdulillah, we had like, say 20, 30, 40 kids, people that came. Online, when we went online, COVID, we went online.
Yeah.
Wallah, I kid you not, it was myself, Sheikh Mustafa, Hajj Haydar behind the camera, and Sayyid Hassan Wahab just monitoring the live. And it was only 3 people that were online until it grew to like 200-300 people on a regular basis. Now, alhamdulillah, we're getting like 300-400 on a weekly basis that are coming to Harakah. Because again, the consistency, and there's a family feel, and their kids are learning about the Ahlul Bayt. It's not like they're being thrown into a place not knowing what's going on. No, now my kid looks forward to Harakah. Yes, to play. Look, I'm not. Of course, there's a lot of running around for kids, but I did that as well. And by the way, I don't want, as a side note, I don't want to incur. I don't want to dismiss the upbringing that I had in Rasul A'zam, because they taught me everything that I needed to know about the rituals and the sha'a'ir of Imam al-Hussein, right? I grew up in this environment, and therefore my viewpoint is a Husseini viewpoint. That's fine. I'm not dismissing that. I'm just dismissing now that they need to give the reins to the youth. And when I say youth, by the way, I'm talking about people my age. Wallah. Like, I'm genuinely talking about people my age, 35, 36. Yeah. We're fully grown men with families that can hold majalis, bro. Yes. Because the elders still see us as youth, even though we've grown up. Do you know what I mean?
They think that about you. What do you think they think about us?
That's I don't want to say the words. Oh, this kid is telling me off. Oh, we're not kids anymore. We're some guys at 25, 24, 30, 35. Anyway, so the point is that I don't dismiss what I learned, but I want the kids, when they come to the masajid and they come to the Husseyniyat, let them play around. But as long as they see the Mawalid, as long as they see the black when it's the Wafat season, as long as they hear the Latmiyat, even if they say, do you know what, I'm just going to come as a joke.
They're just in that atmosphere.
In the atmosphere. And that's what builds, and actually scientifically speaking, you have connections that you build when you're 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They become hardwired into your psyche. Yeah. They become hardwired into your view of the world and how you view the world. Yeah.
It's like you met my nephews, Abbas and Ali. Yes. One is 2, one is
Mashallah.
1.
Beautiful kids.
And they're like, one can barely walk, and the one thing he knows how to do, he comes
and slaps his
gut. And then his older brother Abbas, he comes because he sees you a lot on YouTube, of course, because that's also very important to have Islamic content on YouTube. People can watch.
That's another.
And right away he saw you, Mulla Ali.
The cute. Yeah. Again, look, it could be me, it could be any other reciter, but as long as he's looking at recitations, right, in a safe, controlled environment where we know that he's being shown no toxicity. There's a lot of toxicity in our communities where it's just so. Ego plays a big role. Oh, how is he speaking to me like this? All of that stuff.
I want to show the beautiful face of our religion.
You need to show the beautiful face. And I've seen that, mashallah, in the last 10 days.
Yeah. So now, just before we wrap up, we've had a great conversation about the like switching to English and our communities and whatnot. I just want to talk to you about, of course, the Shia Voice.
Yeah, Shia Voice.
But I want to get your thoughts on it as a whole, but I do want to ask about a few specific things, some concerns people might have.
Okay.
I know you maybe aren't a representative of the show.
I should say, listen, I want to put a disclaimer out there. I'm not a spokesman for Shia Voice. Yeah,
but if you are at liberty to speak with your opinion,
okay.
Just a question about the categories
Mm-hmm.
and how the categories are split up, and if you should have someone who's not a reciter comment on someone's recitation, مثلا, or someone who's a reciter comment on someone's lecture.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day,
Putting up a Quran reciter against, a beautiful Latmiyya reciter is
you're
difficult.
right. He's never going to win, and I have made this point, and they also realize the point as well. But at the end of the day, they want to show the dynamism of the Shia faith, and they only have one platform to do so.
Yeah.
Unfortunate is the case that they're pitted against each other, but at the end of the day, if you move the competition to one side and just admire and just acknowledge and respect the fact that we have fantastic Quran reciters, we have brilliant lecturers
of course.
whose lives have changed since Shia Voice. We have reciters whose lives have changed, even though they haven't won it.
We've brought at least 4 people that were on the Shia Voice.
7. You counted 6 the other day.
Or I counted 6 the other
Yeah.
day. Yeah.
You can name them.
Okay, so Mustafa Hsianawi, he
Yeah.
was, I think, the first one, or Rashid was. Rashid was the first one.
Well, not Rashid.
Mustafa Hsianawi.
Yep.
Mustafa Jum'a.
Yep.
Muhammad Rida Mudaffar.
Yep.
Ali Zuhairi.
Yep.
Yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. Although you weren't a contestant, you were a
No.
host.
Yeah.
But I'll count you in this.
Yeah,
figure.
yeah, yeah.
So 6.
But yeah.
Inshallah, I'm not missing something.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, people's lives have changed just by taking part. So remove the competition for one side. A platform where you can showcase the dynamism of Shia faith and Shia arts and culture, right, is fantastic. That has to be appreciated. You've got the Quran reciters, the lecturers, the poets. There's a young kid called Muhammad Abbas Muraj, right? Muhammad Abbas Muraj. His poetry, the way he was delivering it, he wears glasses. I don't know if you've noticed him. His delivery was phenomenal. But again, his life is going to change. There are loads of poets. Seyhan Jetta. Have you heard of that name?
The younger one.
younger
I'm
one.
a fan of the Shia Voice.
Yeah.
I watch it all.
Seyhan Jetta he's appearing on Hussein TV, appears on Haraka Husseiniya. He's appearing because, again, we're appreciating the dynamism of all these categories. Now, yes, if you throw in the competition, I guess there's a bit of a question mark as to can you really put a Quran guy against an established Latmiyya reciter whose vibe, should we say, is more passionate and stronger? Yeah, I mean, it's not a level playing field. I kind of understand that. But at the same time, the whole aim of the show is to provide a platform for all reciters and every type of category within the Shia faith. And also to show the heritage of Shia arts and culture.
Ahsantum. Now, speaking about heritage,
No.
we're going to wrap it up with a few rapid fire questions
Is that heritage?
about the heritage of the Shia faith.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Top 3 deceased Rawadid for you.
I only know one.
You only know one?
Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
Okay. Top 5 Rawadid right now. We'll do
Top
that.
5 Rawadi right now?
Yes, top
Okay,
5.
So
Go.
Basim is in a league of his own. Yeah. I've got Jannami up there. Ali Muhammad.
Okay.
And that's it for me. I don't rate anyone else.
You don't rate anyone else?
Yeah, I do rate them as reciters, but like in terms of
So,
in terms of-
BK,
yeah,
Janami Muhammad.
yeah.
Okay. And now about top 3 shu'ara. Top 3 poets.
Poets:
Yes.
Nouri Sardar, Haydar Qazzaz, and Jabr al-Kadhimi.
Ahsan. Shout out Nouri. Shout out.
Haydar Qazzaz, they're very different in their styles.
I would say shout out Jabir, but I don't think he's gonna
I don't
watch
think
this
so either,
or
yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
Okay. And
By the way, there's a massive topic that I wanted to. Well, maybe in another podcast we can talk about the change in Arabic Latmiyat and the
oh my God,
introduction.
I should go on this for.
I know the introduction of all these musical elements and the beats and the stuff in the back, and that's why I didn't mention Bayati. I like him. But
Oh,
I didn't
you knew
mention-
I was just gonna go off and we're running out of time.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
take me
I'm-
10 minutes.
That's why. Look, I rate Bayati in terms of his talent. He's a very, very talented guy. In terms of heritage, I don't think he's.
I'm gonna stay quiet because if I was to start my little rant
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now,
yeah,
we're not gonna finish, and Salah's in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Last thing, top 3 favorite qasaid of all time.
Subhanallah, was I listening to it yesterday?
We'll make it top 5.
Yes. I was listening to one yesterday with Sayyid Hadi Qazwini. نظرت الحب لأبو اليم حياتي.
Yes, by Sayyid Sa'id al-Safi.
Yeah. And
Amazing
that-
qasida.
It is a phenomenal qasida. I really like the qasida. There's that one. There's one where I made my son Hussein listen to as soon as he was born. It starts with higher. زي كان حمايل دخل حمايل دخل يا حسين.
I'm a bit lost on that one.
Before your time, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
And number 3?
And then the chorus is Hussein wa
Hussein. I'm not going to
No?
recite.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I'm-
There's that one. There is no, those two are my favorite too.
You don't have any more?
Look, there's loads of nice.
Well, there's the
ones
classics,
around.
of course. You
There
can
is the
start hitting Ya
classics.
Mahl al-Wada, Yawm al-Dhikri.
Yeah,
Once you
look,
start throwing
these
those
are all classics. Everyone likes them, but those two
Nidrat
really,
al-Hub.
Nidrat al-Hub.
It's really
Nidrat
good.
al-Hub means I make an oath. I
or
pledge my
I
life.
pledge. Yeah.
I pledge my life to Imam al-Hussein and the rest of it. That's the chorus.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
مثل طبعا النصر, yeah.
Oh, that's what you're talking about.
Well, no, it's مثل طبعا النصر actually came out after, but this with the same melody. The original was حماية دخل. Said, have you heard that one? حماية دخل? No. حماية دخل يا حسين كل الوادم يسمعون. مثل no, it's not definitely not مثل. It's not definitely yeah. But I'll make a list after.
Okay.
Those classic guys will know حماية دخل.
Okay. I guess I'm not classic. I'm too young.
You're classic, but then there's classic heritage classic.
What about
حماية دخل باسم.
What about like Goom Ruiha?
Oh, that's a nice one.
Like the video is still yellow. It's like yellow and black.
Yeah,
See
it
the
is,
video.
By the way, if you ever want to see the most pure Karbala'i Latum, it's that video.
Goom Ruiha.
Because when they show the audience, it's a deggo nos. But there is a delay of like half a second.
Between the
No one will
sound and
understand.
the video?
No, the Latum, no one will understand other than a Karbala'i. When the Latum comes down, there is a delay of half a second. Only the Karbala'i will understand. Sorry.
Well, I'll watch it and maybe I'll understand.
I'll show you what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
Well, thanks for watching.
Thanks for... No. Actually, can you do it?
Thanks for watching Behind the Minbar. We had a fantastic guest here today, Haj Mehdi from the al-Rasool al-A'zam Masjid or Rasool Youth. We talked about some very, very important discussions. The takeaway is that persevere when it comes to the English Majalis, even though it might be late. It's never late. Better late than never, right? Make a change, because all you need is 3 or 4 of the elder generation to hold your back, and then you can go steadfast to make sure you make a change within your masajid. Not an afterthought, as Haj Mahdi mentioned, but actually being the main English majalis within your centers. So we thank Hamid Mahdi, or Haj Mahdi, sorry, for his time, and inshallah we'll see him. There's another podcast that we want to do. We'll talk about the recitations, get you to rant, inshallah.
Thank you so much for having me on. Mullah,
okay.
It's an honor to be on the show. And inshallah, I'll have the chance to be on again. Thank you.
بالخدمة.
Assalamu alaikum.
السلام عليكم.